Well, after a long break, we are indeed back for the Euroformula Open 2024 Championship, and it starts here at the Algarve. Round one at Portugal as we get set to go racing at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve. 4.653 kilometers as we look to proceed with 18 laps of racing over 30 minutes maximum time. And the track temperature has certainly taken new heights here today. After a very damp start to the morning, obviously we had qualifying under, you could say, mixed conditions, but the drivers remained on the wet tyres. And after speaking to Francesco Simonazzi, our eventual pole sitter, he said there was no point in setting a lap on slick tyres due to the fact that it was only just drying up towards the very bitter end, and it would have taken some time before they could even get the slick tyres to a usable window where they would have been optimal. But here, nonetheless, we will be on slick tyres this time around. Fernando Barrichello, of course, joining the series this season, managing to pull out a clutch lap to put himself on the front row, just ahead of Levente Revesh in third as well. And it's a welcome return to Jakob Bergmeister as well. Let's take you through the starting grid. Francesco Simonazzi starting on pole position, joining him on the front row, Fernando Barrichello. Levente Revesh on third place spot with Jakob Bergmeister in fourth. That makes up row two. Further back, as we make our way towards row three, Brad Benavides, a welcome return to the series, of course off the back of racing in Formula 2, and Lorenzo Flüchia starting from sixth place on the grid. As they now look to try and conclude the formation lap, folks, we get set for our very first round, our very first race in the Euroformula Open Championship. Drivers bidding to become the most winningest driver since Felipe Drugovich managed to do it on achieving his Euroformula Open Championship with 15 wins to his locker. We'll see if anyone can beat that number here this season. Your commentary team, my name, of course, being George Morgan. Alongside me, it's Chris Stevens. Chris, welcome back. Euroformula has returned.
Certainly has. Francesco Simonazzi using his experience in the Dallara 320 chassis to good use. His third full season in the championship now, and be starting alongside the rookie class driver, FIFO Barrichello. Rookie class being for drivers coming from F4 machinery or below. And then a couple of drivers from last year as well, Levente Revesh, Jakob Bergmeister, two quick guys from last year, Brad Benavides, and then Lorenzo Flüchia. This is a very interesting field of cars that we have, and of course all fighting to follow in the footsteps of the likes of, well, Noel Leon, Kian Shields, Charlie Verts, Josh Dufek, and Josh Mason, who all ended up on the Formula 1 support bills last year.
Yeah, certainly did. Simonazzi occupying the front row of the grid, came off the back of taking a couple of race wins through the course of his campaign, through the course of the series. And many drivers that have raced here in the Euroformula Open Championship have eventually ended up in Formula 1, including names such as Yuki Tsunoda, as well as the likes of Felipe Drugovich, who's now a reserve at Aston Martin. The car's now lined up onto the grid. Green flags now being waved, and here come the lights. Third light, fourth light, and the fifth light. And it's pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Fernando Barrichello stuck on the grid. It's not a getaway from him at all, but he does finally do so. It is still, though, Simonazzi who leads the way. Levente Revesh also getting off the line reasonably well, had to jump and make sure that he managed to get himself away behind Barrichello, as now we see a lock up there slightly from Brad Benavides heading through turn 3 as they now come up through towards turn 4. Immediately, though, Simonazzi really started to harness this lead already. I think he's got a little bit of a gap to the car in behind. Levente Revesh getting away cleanly too.
Yeah, Revesh up to second place after that disastrous start for Fernando Barrichello. It's a carbon clutch on these cars, and it is still a foot clutch as well. It's not the paddle operated behind the steering wheel that you get in the FIA Formula 3 Championship and above, for example. Yeah, probably just not used to getting this thing off the line, and when it mattered, it wasn't quite able to do it in a timely fashion. Not the first time we've seen start problems for one of these cars, but Simonazzi leading by 0.6 of a second to Levente Revesh, one of the more aggressive drivers from last year in terms of his wheel-to-wheel combat. So let's see what happens when he gets up to the back of Revesh. It could be a interesting one, so to speak. Revesh coming in with half a season of experience under his belt going into this year. Of course, Brad Benavides back in the championship where he made his car racing debut a few years ago but that was with a different chassis back then. So at the end of first lap, it's Francesco Simonazzi by half a second. It's purple sectors in 2 and 3 going to Levente Revesh, and then half a second back to Brad Benavides. Jakob Bergmeister in fourth, Lorenzo Flüchia very close behind in fifth place, and then FIFO Barrichello rounding up the field, 2.9 seconds back from the rest of the field after not getting off the line very well at all. And Lorenzo Flüchia looking for a way by on Jakob Bergmeister here. You can tell his car apart by the extra white trim on that number 7 machine, and he's looking up the inside at turn 5 and goes through on Bergmeister into fourth position.
Yeah, great move there from Flüchia, of course, coming in off the back of LMP2 racing in the LMS, and also competing in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine as well, where he represented the Prema team. And now here with Motor Park in the Euroformula Open Championship. Of course, we've seen drivers do similar things last season. Tim Tramnitz doing that exact same thing too, and many drivers have gone on to higher claim in future series. As we alluded as well to the likes of Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson as well, who's also appeared in this championship, as we now see them make their way through turn 13. Still Simonazzi out in front, though the gap has now sort of come down slightly. Revesh has come off the back of achieving a purple second sector on his previous lap. Still Simonazzi, though, trying to persevere. The gap remaining just beyond the realms of 0.4 of a second as they head downhill. Here is the replay of Lorenzo Flüchia's move down the inside. Textbook move here, Chris, on Jakob Bergmeister.
Yeah, up into fourth position. Lorenzo Flüchia being convinced to test the car in Valencia. It wasn't with us for the collective Barcelona pre-season test, but we're convinced to test the car in Barcelona by Diego Menchaca, the Motor Park GT3 driver, and absolutely fell in love with it. And now that looks like Flüchia. No, for a second there, I thought Flüchia had got past Benavides, but yeah, that's the 11 car, isn't it, behind them? It's a bit more white on these cars than I remember there being last year, but yeah, Levente Revesh got a bit more red trim on his car. You can see that from the front wings and the rear wing as well, a bit more red on the Hungarian's car, and he gets the back end out, coming out of turn number 8 as they rise up the hill, and Brad Benavides, having just done the fastest lap of the race, getting a little extra incentive there to try and take second place from Levente Revesh. He's all over the back of the Hungarian's car, and now looking up the inside into 13, not quite able to do anything with that.
So very similar moves as we saw them going over the crest, a bit like what we saw with Enzo Trilli last season, where he came under close contact with Tim Tramnitz, and also No Leon as well, as we see the cars make their way down the hill. And no doubt Brad Benavides is going to look to persevere this time around here at Portimao. Still, though, Simonazzi giving a reprieve of sorts, just over 0.7 of a second difference between Ps1 and Ps2. That might advance as they cross the line. It certainly does, nearly a whole second, as now Brad Benavides looks to the inside, heading through towards turn 1 in a bid to take second place away. Can't quite do it. Levente Revesh putting the guard up, but runs a little wide on the entrance, heading through towards turn 2. Again going defensive. That will still open up a chance here for Benavides coming out of turn 3. Can't quite find the leverage as they now peel over the crest, but they have got the run down through towards Tora Vip. Still not able to get that move done, but still asking the major questions as now Levente Revesh once again goes defensive.
Simonazzi doing the fastest lap of the race last time around, 0.4 quicker than Revesh in second, while he's busy trying to keep Brad Benavides, the Floridian, at bay. Of course, Brad Benavides coming back from the F2 Championship last year. It's a bit more Euroformula Open experience. As I said, made his car racing debut in this championship in 2018, the season finale. Then ended up racing in the championship a little bit more for Carlin in 2021, the last 3 rounds, and then stepped up to the Formula 3 championship, and it's just one of many drivers to have made their way into Formula 3 from here. I mean, as we mentioned, like the majority of the field ended up in Formula 3 at the end of last year, and Bryce Aaron as well on his way to Indy NXT as well. And that's just from last year as well. Of course, we've got previous champions Olli Goethe and Christian Mansell from the same year going into Formula 3 at the start of last year as well. And, you look through the likes of Alex Palou, two-time IndyCar champion, Yifei Ferrari hypercar driver as well. You know, it's a lot of drivers who have made very good careers for themselves having raced in this championship, because the essence of the car, it's light, it's nimble, it's a proper driver's car, and that's why these guys love it. It's why the drivers adore this car so much. You see a very compressed field running through turn 3. This is Jakob Bergmeister. You can always spot him with that bright blue helmet. 4th generation racer is Bergmeister, the 18-year-old from Solingen in Germany, and running in 5th position at the moment, as Benavides still looking for a way through on Levente Revesh. Simonazzi continuing to lead.
Revesh also coming in off the back of a season in, well, a couple of seasons in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, where he would have met Lorenzo Flüchia as well. Now they are forced to draw swords here in the Euroformula Open Championship as they now dive down out of the Galp corner at turn 15 and rush down through towards turn 1 this time around. Alluding back to Fernando Barrichello as well, his father Rubens here this weekend, who has his own staunch history in the realm of single-seaters, partnering up with Michael Schumacher during the millennium period for Ferrari, during their most dominant stage, and obviously looking to persevere again. There is, speaking of the devil, Fernando Barrichello having an off, unfortunately, and, just having a little tricky time of it here in this opening race, but no doubt we'll be back again over the next 2 races. We see a big learning curve here with this car, and I do happen to know that Rubens Barrichello himself, after speaking to him earlier on, would love to jump at a chance at having a run in this car at some point over at Portimao this weekend.
Well, I'm sure Kai Degenhardt's on the radio to FIFO there, just trying to get him cool, calm and collected, and get himself back up and running and into a bit of a rhythm. Kai helped Noli on to the championship last year.
Takes pride in nurturing young talent. This Kai.
They all do.
Yeah.
I think they all do. The motorsport team is just synonymous now with prepping young drivers at this stage. I mean, Levente Revesh's engineer worked with Christian Mansell when he was running in the championship as well. So he's got some great talent in that team, and Jakob Bergmeister running with the engineer who took Olli Goethe to the title a couple of years ago as well. So yeah, they're not short on top engineering talent, and of course good mechanical talent as well there. But right now it's the BVM Racing, Francesco Simonazzi, that's showing them how it's done at the moment by 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, of course, Oliver Goethe had Stuart Hall in his corner as well during the course of the campaign that he would go on to win his title. And since then, as a driver coach as well, and also a competitive driver in his own right, Stuart Hall has partnered the likes of Benji Goethe and also Roel Goethe as well in various different GT championships that they've been a part of.
It's a big racing family, isn't it?
Yeah, huge, massive. And they've got their own collective museum made up of the Golf cars as well, which is fantastic to hear, as we now wait and see the cars make their way up through out of Tour a bit, through towards turn 6. It's still Simonazzi out in front, clear by 1.4 seconds, with Brad Benavides down in 3rd as well. Race is still unfolding here with 19 minutes and 15 still to go. Of course, 12 laps of running still to be had as Simonazzi looks to persevere onwards. Last lap was a 1:38.284, which was only a 1/10 of a second separating he and Levente Revesh over the course of the last lap. The Hungarian still, though, trying to dig deep in a bid to try and hold back the tirade of Brad Benavides, who is still hot on his tail. Lorenzo Flüchia also in the mix. There is Fernando Barrichello, who is now currently sat in 6th place. Making up that rookie conglomerate just in behind Jakob Bergmeister, who currently sits further up. Simonazzi, though, will look to continue and hope to launch together yet another race win. Wouldn't that be some achievement? Because, of course, obviously looking ahead ideally someone you'd expect. We expected to see him at the front contesting for the title last season, Chris. He definitely has a chance this season.
He certainly does, and expected a couple more wins, really. And to be fair, there were opportunities for Simonazzi, weren't there? Because he had the win in Austria. Well, I don't want to say taken away from him, but he could have won that race, of course. That he didn't. He had the contact there as well. So a bit of a couple of scruffy races, but there's no denying that Simonazzi's got great speed and great flamboyance behind the wheel as well, which is always great to see. Was exploring options in GT Open for this year, and Simonazzi having to combine this Euroformula Open campaign with his studies back in the UK, going to university, and trying to remember off the top of my head what it is he's actually studying, but it's something very very difficult and, like, you know, something for smart people to do, not like me, for example, who never even went to university.
Don't put yourself down, Chris.
I didn't even go. So this battle for second place has turned into a three-car train now, with Lorenzo Flüchia now on the back of Brad Benavides as well. And well, Fluxia's already had a great start to his year with his maiden LMP2 win at the 4 Hours of Barcelona a few weeks ago. His first race with Cool Racing. He was in good company there, wasn't he, with Malte Jakobsen and Ritomo Miata. And you know, when you're holding a candle against drivers like that, it says an awful lot. And he is right on the back of Brad Benavides here. White-winged tipped number 7 car at the back of this train. And fastest in the speed trap there, 246 kilometers an hour, as he had the double toe down the front straight from Benavides and from Revesh.
Yeah, Revesh currently sat second, and now 1.8 the gap between Revesh and Simonazzi. And Benavides now 4/10 away, so still persevering and right on the tail of Revesh at this stage. And also be enjoyed by Lorenzo Flüchia, who certainly started to become alive now in this stage of the race. So they now head through this next right-hander downhill once again over the crest as they make their way out of the turn 13 section. Opportunities here. Brad Benavides goes defensive. Flüchia now sending warning shots and looking for every which way to try and challenge Brad Benavides, and might have his chance here as well. Benavides running a little wider than Flüchia, coming out of the Sagre corner, heading downhill through Galp at turn 15. Decent run here for Lorenzo Flüchia should surely help his cause here as they make their run down through towards turn 1. He's right in the wheel tracks. The slipstream, I'm sure, will help him as they make their way in towards turn 1. He does indeed break out of the aero, so Brad Benavides in trouble here. Here comes Lorenzo Flüchia down the inside. They'll hit turn 1. Benavides holds on to that third place, but for how much longer? Flüchia has sent, as I said, those warning shots, and he is sending a clear message saying that he is faster. And now a little bit of wheel play as they head out of turn 3 through turn 4. Over the hill this time around and down through towards Tora Vip, and Benavides, I think, could breathe just a short sigh of relief. It certainly isn't over yet, but heading in towards Tora Vip, coming under excruciating pressure from Flüchia in behind.
Yeah, the problem with down the straight is that Flüchia will have to pull out the toe, and then he's into the clean air, while Benavides is still getting the slipstream from Revesh in front of him. So Benavides should be able to maintain the momentum down the straight. Flüchia lit up those rear Pirelli tyres coming out of turn 8. So easy.
His own Simonazzi.
Yeah, it's just so easy to light up the rear tyres there as you rise up the hill. Because this corner was the scene of big contact at the last race as well. Enzo Trilli and Tim Tramnitz provided absolutely thrilling entertainment in their first few races of the season. Because last year we had 3 different winners in the first 3 races last time out. Simonazzi's commanding this one at the moment.
He's careering away 2 seconds now. Of course, it was 1.8 beforehand, and now it's out to 2.2 as he crosses the line to begin yet another lap. coming down to the final 8 this time around. And Ravesh now facing trouble from Brad Benavides, who certainly has, I think, recomposed himself after the incoming approach from Lorenzo Flüchia. Certainly isn't over yet by any means. And they'll make their way through towards the next left-hander before descending down towards Tora Vip once again. Of course, Brad Benavides, we talk about his history, was part of the FIA F2 Championship and former regional Middle East as well. Back in 2021, though, he did compete in the Euroformula Open Championship with 9 races against his name. Frecker again that same season, but has also competed in Formula Renault Euro Cup back in 2019, as well as then Euroformula even further back than that. But still, now looking to rise to the occasion, back again, and might be able to reinvigorate some of that form as well as he looks to try and challenge Levente Ravesh for that P2 spot. So the Hungarian's going to make that as difficult as possible for the AIX-sponsored motor park car. As it descends downhill and takes a swerve to the left here, and the Algarve through towards turn 13. And very shortly through Sagre once again. They're getting all bottled up over this fight for P2. This helps Simonazzi out no end. Of course, the gap, as we last read it, was 2.3, and I get the feeling it's going to be vastly further out this time around. And they cross the line once again to commence the 7th last lap here in this stint. There is Lorenzo Flüchia. That's on the heels of Brad Benavides, and he's going to get a tow, but so does Benavides. He might get a run here this time around on Levente Ravesh. In fact, we could see a 3-wide occurrence in this stint now as they do go 3 wide, heading in towards turn 1. Benavides with the ideal outside line, has his nose and his car in front. Ravesh coming together with Flüchia. Ravesh with a very uncomfortable run, heading through towards turn 2. Has another look down the inside, immediately again challenging, heading through turn 3, riding over the crest, through turn 4 they'll go. He can't quite hammer it back. Flüchia has enough in his locker to hold on to 3rd place.
Flüchia's weaving all over the back straight to try and keep Ravesh at bay into turn 5, but the Hungarian's been able to do it. We'll see it again. So Benavides has already gone at this point. Flüchia's up the inside. Ravesh hits a curb or gets a very rough ride. So front wheels launched into the air. Thankfully, nothing too dramatic, not like what we saw in the GT Cup race earlier, with one of the Porsches bouncing and flying through the inside on the grass there. But Ravesh has to survive another day. And, they're not very heavy, these guys, only 575 kilograms. So if you're going fast enough, it wouldn't actually take too much for them to take off. They're very light machines.
Yes.
240 brake horsepower, Spies engine in the back of them as well. That kind of combination makes them fantastic to drive. It's really one of the last contemporary single-seaters that you can race that weighs less than 600 kilos. That lightness not only makes for great racing, but it also just makes it an absolute joy to drive. As we see Benavides now in clean air, 1 second clear of Flüchia behind, and return another 9/10 clear of Ravesh behind him. And last time round was only 0.02 of a second slower was Benavides. Then our race leader Francesco Simonazzi, who I think as it stands, would also be taking home the bonus point fastest lap as well. You get an extra point for pole and a point for fastest lap as well. And there is also extra points for the driver that makes up the most positions in any race, which Simonazzi can't do because he started on pole. So you can't really get the clean sweep, so to speak. But in terms of pole, fastest lap and race win, it's looking good for Simonazzi at the moment with 5 and a bit laps to go.
Levente Ravesh getting warned as well for track limits. He actually gets a last warning, in fact, for track limits at turn 1 this time around. So he'll have to watch his step from now on. But of course, that puts him on the back foot somewhat because he is down in 4th place with Flüchia just in front. Simonazzi as well launching his charge forward with 3 seconds gap-wise between he and Brad Benavides as they now head downhill once again. There's Ravesh. Fernando Barrichello has managed to unseat Jakob Bergmeister as well for that 5th place. So well done to him in this instance.
I wonder if Bergmeister's got some sort of an issue or had a problem, because he's...
Oh, it's changed.
Oh, no, that's the timing issues again, George, that we've been having all weekend. Because Barrichello's actually, still in 6th place according to our timing screen now. Just updated itself. It seems to be a problem down the second loop that's not registering cars for whatever reason. It sounded like a lock-up, didn't it, for our race leader, Francesco Simonazzi? Just a hint of Pirelli tyre squeal going into the hairpin, but looks all okay. No sign of Simonazzi at the side of the road going, oh no, I've lost the race lead. It's still out there somewhere.
God, can you imagine?
3 seconds, yes.
Can you imagine if he does it here? I mean, we have seen that in the past. I mean, when you look back to GT Cup Europe, last year, Evgeny Leonov through the final few corners, making his way through the final corner at turn 15, coming out of turn 14, and getting it all wrong.
I mentioned 3 different winners in the first 3 races here last year. Simonazzi was one of them.
Yeah,
it was his first on the road win, wasn't it? Because he had one win.
Red Bull Ring.
Yes, a Red Bull Ring, which was inherited by a 5-second penalty.
It was a very emotional scene in Parc Fermé after he achieved that. It was almost a, oh my goodness, I've done it type thing. But did it for real here last season.
The most likeable young lad.
He is. He's a fantastic character and as humble as you'll ever meet as well. I always have pleasure in talking to the Italian stallion.
And for an Italian, his English and his English slang is actually very good.
He's got better since he's been at uni as well.
I know, he could actually pass for South London, couldn't he? I wouldn't bat an eyelid at him. South London as they come.
They've converted him.
Hey, he's more than welcome. He's more than welcome. He's a local as far as I'm concerned.
Fantastic. Still with his advantage, 3.1 out in front. Lorenzo Flüchia still in 3rd. No changes in the midst of the 2nd to 4th places. Ravesh was closing up to the back of Flüchia, but that gap seems to have dropped down. I think Ravesh obviously a little bit more cautious of the apexes and obviously the lines that he's allowed to attack. You see those white lines paramount here at Portimao. If you stretch too far, you will get penalised. And as I said, he is on a last warning. You see Benavides stretching over the top of the hill and through towards the turn 10 and 11 sections before then spiralling up turn 12 towards turn 13. And then a trip through Sagre once again. But, truly remarkable. I mean, looking back at Benavides' time in single-seater racing, he's not alone. We've, of course, got Lorenzo Flüchia. We spoke about his runs in the LMS and the Asian Le Mans Series over the course of this season, and last season's exploits in Freca, running in the Formula Regional Middle Eastern Championship. Has actually done a lot of racing historically, including a very busy F4 schedule that spanned over 2 years, and competing in Italy as well as the United Arab Emirates and Spain, and before then finding himself in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, where he has been for a few seasons now, and racing for Prema, and has now also commenced a career in LMP2 racing, which is certainly fantastic to see. Many single-seater drivers, in fact, now opening opportunities in not just Formula One as such, but becoming top stars in the World Endurance Championship and also the GT World Challenge. Of course, eventually we see them, of course, competing in the International GT Open as well, Chris.
Well, we were talking about, Yifei, weren't we? And he was certainly one of the best champions who won the title in 2020. And now a Ferrari hypercar driver, ex-Porsche driver, of course, just before that as well. And not just sports car racing. We talked about Alex Blue as well, 2-time IndyCar champion. Colton Herta as well came from this championship, and of course these. If Andretti do get into F1, he's first in line for the F1 seat, isn't he? And plenty of other great talent. Jack Crawford and Zane Maloney are in F2 at the moment as well. Jack Doohan, Alpine F1 reserve. Liam Lawson, Red Bull reserve. Liam Lawson, who should be in F1 right now, as far as I'm concerned. But making do with the Red Bull reserve seat for now. And go and wave his Euroformula trophies at Red Bull to try and convince him to put him in the AlphaTauri. But 2 laps to go now. Simonazzi's lead up to 3.1 seconds. Lorenzo Flüchia has just done the fastest lap of the race, 1:37.730. So he manages to nick that extra fastest lap point away from Simonazzi. And will be an extra one for him. Close up the gap between himself and Benavides in terms of the points. See confirmation there at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. See Flüchia benefiting a little bit from the toe of Brad Benavides, but maybe a little bit of turbulent air coming off the back of that car as well, as Simonazzi sliding his way out of turn 8. And that BVM racing car has never looked in better form, has it? Just absolutely impervious out at the front of the field as it stands, and well on his way. Keeping check on those Pirelli tyres. We've got a full season deal now for Pirelli after they had to step in as a supplier midway through the year last year, as the initial plan was to run with Hankooks, which we did for the first race here in Portimao, and the factory fire there stopped them from being part of the remainder of the season. So Pirelli stepped in with their tyres from the second round onwards. Now we're running Pirelli tyres full-time in the Euroformula Open as Francesco Simonazzi starts his final lap of the race, 3 seconds clear of Brad Benavides in second.
Yeah, looking calm, clear at this stage. Final lap now underway in race 1 of the Euroformula Open Championship. Lorenzo Flüchia heading through turns 1, 2 and 3. Still proceeding to try and close up to Brad Benavides in second. The gap not coming down between Ps1 and 2. In fact, it stagnates at 3 seconds, at least for now, but it's half a second between Ps3 and 2. So it's a great chance here for Flüchia if he can unlock something in sector 2. Coming out of Tora Vip now. Proceed uphill and tackle turns 6, eventually turn 7 as well. And then we can see them nip and tuck through towards this next right. Can't afford to make any mistakes here. Benavides needs to try and make sure they can at least bring the car home in second. We'll have a chance though, as when we have the reverse scenarios. Of course, we've got a reverse grid lineup for qualifying and of course for this very race result alike. So there's going to be a huge mission for Francesco Simonazzi over the next day or so, but at least for now he can bask in the splendor that is this opening race here at Portimao. And off the back of achieving his second race win last season, put him with the likes of Jack Aitken, as well as Cembolek Bassi, who now has a vibrant sim racing career. We now witness as now Francesco Simonazzi will add yet another victory to his locker, joining the likes of Alex Palau, Christian Mansell and Josh Mason. He'll take the checkered flag and victory in race 1 here at Portimao. Brad Benavides takes second place with Lorenzo Flüchia in third as well. Levente Ravesh will surely bring it home in fourth, with Jakob Bergmeister crossing the line in fifth and Fernando Barrichello coming home in sixth, Chris.
Yep, FIFO just coming across the line now. About 9 seconds it was in the end of the rest of the field. Of course, he'll be starting on pole position for the reverse grid race tomorrow morning. For now, it's all about this man, Francesco Simonazzi. Great win for him and getting his title campaign off to the best possible start. 3 seconds clear was just very static in the end, wasn't it, between himself and Benavides, and he's very happy with that, and no doubt we'll get the traditional hand heart from Francesco.
Yeah, well, here's the race results. Francesco Simonazzi is your winner for BVM Racing. Brad Benavides in second place for Team Motor Park. Lorenzo Flüchia third. Levente Ravesh in fourth. Jakob Bergmeister in fifth. Fernando Barrichello in sixth place. Fastest lap would go to Lorenzo Flüchia. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, it's Francesco Simonazzi who leads on 26 points. 6-point deficit then to Brad Benavides in second, Lorenzo Flüchia in third, Levente Ravesh in fourth, and Jakob Bergmeister fifth, with Fernando Barrichello sixth. Results pretty much as they were at the end of the race. And has to be said, Simonazzi will be hoping that this can continue. We'll see what he can achieve over what will be a very tricky day tomorrow because of the reverse grid scenario. He will be sat in P6 for both races. So, off the back of achieving pole this morning, of course, we'll have the reverse quali race and then also the reverse result race from this very race. So he will be starting P6 in both. But you never know. Maybe that could be the making of him here at this point. He now makes his way through the final corners, and he'll make his way into Parc Fermé. But yet another victory, a hat-trick as it stands in the Euroformula Open Championship. And as I said, joining the likes of Alex Palau, Christian Mansell, and Josh Mason.
Making their way back into the pits. Yeah, it's been a long time coming for Simonazzi, this really, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think obviously off the back of his victory that he had last season and cementing his position.
But it was this time last year, wasn't it? His last win.
I believe so. I'd have to double check. I mean, surely we know that this one's his third. So there we have it. And celebrating. Yeah, definitely celebrating here and enjoying yet another brilliant result. BVM will be pleased with that. Giuseppe Mazzotti, of course, who runs the BVM team. And Simonazzi celebrates. It's a victory for the Italian stallion. Gets his campaign off to the ideal start. And looking ahead, he can enjoy yet another blissful campaign because we have a long season ahead, Chris.
Oh, it's a bit much for Francesco, it seems like. I wonder what he tells people when he goes back to school on Monday. What did you do at the weekend? Oh, yeah. Won an F3 race. There's no biggie.
As you do. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, he's a raw talent and, someone we've enjoyed watching over the last couple of years, at least I have. And, this is my third year of watching him race. And, yeah, the celebrations unfolding at BVM. And I know that Alfredo Filipponi has a soft spot as well for Francesco.
Everyone does.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic human being, honestly.
Everyone wants him to do well.
Yeah, well, he's taken on, a motor park team that are an entire squad. So it's BVM against them. It's BVM against the rest, essentially, in this instance, and they've managed to take them down. I mean, credit to Simonazzi. It's the perfect way to start your championship. Let's see what you can deliver as Benavides gives a thumbs up. And I'd imagine there'll be more to come from him as well. But we've got Simonazzi standing by. Shortly we'll hear from him. But first and foremost, to take you through the top three, Lorenzo Flüchia in third place. And he, of course, will be looking to persevere onwards from that. In second is Brad Benavides. So welcome return to the Euroformula Open Championship. Runner-up here in race 1 at Portimao. But it's Francesco Simonazzi registering a hat-trick of victories across this campaign, and he's standing by with Alfredo Filipponi.
Francesco Giovinazzi, winner of the opening race of the Euroformula 2024. And Portimao, you like it because last year you also won here.
Yes, it seems like it's my lucky circuit. Today everything went really well. The pace was super incredible. We were losing a bit in the first sector, but we were gaining a lot in the last two sector. And I was always managed to have a good exit at the last turn just to gain a bit and not get leave the others my slipstream. And I don't know what happened. I managed to keep the same time, the same pace throughout the entire race. So I'm pretty satisfied with that one.
And all that after a stunning pole position this morning on wet tires at the very last attempt.
I think it was a well-deserved win for today.
I think so. Enjoy. Podium now.
So yes, victory. And let's see how he did it. And race 1 in the Euroformula Open Championship for the very first round in Portimao was not a great start at all for Fernando Barrichello, getting stuck on the line when starting on the front row. Simonazzi, though, would barrel on further. Leventi Ramesh positioning himself in second place with Jakob Bergmeister chasing after Brad Benavides in that battle for third spot. It all came together heading through towards turn 3. A lot of fighting with Benavides trying to hold position in third spot. Once again, these battles would continue to brew, as we then saw a fantastic move from Lorenzo Flüchia coming through Tora Vip, managing to displace Jakob Bergmeister, who got left behind. Fernando Barrichello had an issue as well coming out, I think, heading through that down in-swinger, unfortunately unseating his car. We then saw a three-wide moment as well with Benavides managing to stretch on further with Levente Ravesh having a little bit of an uncomfortable ride after tackling some of the curbs heading through turns 1, 2 and 3. He tried sending it down the inside of Lorenzo Flüchia, just wasn't to be as Flüchia put up the walls of defence. There was no stopping this young man though. The Italian stallion came back as he did last season to take the checkered flag, and it's 3 wins in the Euroformula Open Championship for Francesco Simonazzi. And standing by post-race, getting ready to step onto the podium, and this is one that Francesco Simonazzi is going to savour. Lorenzo Flüchia is going to stand 3rd place on the podium, and very much enjoying his time running the Dallara 320 chassis. Brad Benavides will stand on the 2nd podium spot. And on the top step, it will be Francesco Simonazzi. Here once again at Portimao, there is Giuseppe Mazzotti, stood right in the middle of picture, celebrating Simonazzi's fantastic victory. And we'll look ahead as well to the next 2 events. Fernando Barrichello, of course, coming in as the rookie, and he'll stand on the podium as well. But we'll now stand by for the national anthem of Italy.
Kick in the teeth. It's the only one. Come on, finish last. Come on the podium.
It's not working. Tunnel broken. Ooh. Here's the national anthem. Well, congratulations to Francesco Simonazzi. Certainly a brilliant performance to enlist his first race win of the campaign, the first race win for the very new 2024 season. 1 race in, plenty more to go, 2 more this weekend to boot, which will all take place tomorrow. Brad Benavides will lift aloft the 2nd place trophy. Francesco Simonazzi will stand by as he too is presented by the representatives from Pirelli. The 1st place trophy here at Portimao. And the BVM Racing team also celebrating a team win. And Fernando Barrichello as well accepting the rookie trophy as well. There's Rubens watching on. Proud father, very proud of Fernando. As well, as I said, got a chance to speak to both of them. And fantastic characters. Beloved human beings as well. A very family atmosphere here in the Euroformula Open Championship. And Francesco Simonazzi will spray the champagne. No one's going to join him, however. But tomorrow, folks, he might do it again. We'll be sure to tune in live as we go racing on 2 more occasions tomorrow. See you then.